Oh, scared the crap out of me.
Hey Dave, how's it going?
All right, let's see how many people want to continue this thing. When we get to the time of day in which we're talking about Hillary porn, it may be. Oh my God! But yeah, I am. I'm looking as I was talking. I'm looking at stuff to prepare for the Angelica Earl interview, and I talked to I talked to my brother, and he's basically like, "Yeah, I'm going to vote for the incumbent." I'm like, "You want to give the Well, she doesn't look serious because it doesn't look like she has that much money in her campaign." So
Yeah.
people still look at that. I think we're the only ones that really look at people having a bare minimum ad campaign as a good thing, because
And to our point is like, why do they need mainstream media where they're going to have to pay them a lot more money, and they're kind of fighting against them anyways.
right.
So why give them more money or an ammo to keep going? And if they get on there, they're not going to get anyone on board. The mainstream media narrative is going to be against them, and the ones who are watching mainstream media in the first place
Right.
are more in line with the people who they're running against anyway.
Well, my thing is the whole story about you can't be president and still have corporate interests. That's
Mm-hmm.
a load of crap. We all know that. That whole thing
Yeah.
that Hillary and the Democrats were pushing with with Trump. Well, he has a giant conflict of interest. Well, the Democrats also have a giant conflict of interest. The Hillary the the Clinton Foundation. You're telling me that the Clinton Foundation is you know is just an altruistic organization, and it's not a for profit. I just it's it's very it's very hypocritical and contradictory.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to tweet or gab. Ah, shoot.
How is Gab anyway? I haven't started Gab.
It's pretty much just like Twitter, in a way, and I mean, they have it where you could share on Twitter. So basically, whatever you post on Gab, it goes to Twitter. The only thing is, it's not the reverse. So most people are on Twitter, so they'll respond to your tweet that originated on Gab.
Okay.
So it still has a ways to go.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point?
Well, yeah, I mean, what you can do is show your original tweet that was on Gab that doesn't get censored. And when Twitter
Oh,
censors your Twitter, you
gotcha.
can see what it was that Twitter censored. So it does help in some ways to
You have more
just.
characters and all that too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's kind of like you get to say what you want and eventually be censored.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting what happens in the in the non-censorship arena, like the copyright claims, that can't, no one can really take it down.
Right.
Even if, and here's where it gets interesting, is when you post on there and say you have copyright infringement, you can't take it down anyways. It's on there until the blockchain stops going, So
okay,
you could be liable and screwed, but then there's also the First Amendment. So how can you? I mean, a lot of it's educational. You're not really. There's no ads, no marketing. So how, unless you're actively collecting money?
Can you actually post a video on Gab?
No, not on Gab. I'm talking about Steemit.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you could probably put something, link to something that could be copyrighted.
Okay.
And like on Steemit, and then you can't take either of them down unless the blockchain goes down.
I haven't posted on Steemit yet, and I kind of have this fear of, what if I post something on Steemit and it gets absolutely nothing?
I mean, I've had that.
Yeah.
I mean, but we don't really care about how many views and subs we have, anyways.
Right. Well,
basically, we're saying is out there.
I just want to put information out there.
Yeah. And that's the best way. I think. I mean, people either stop or they keep going. But if you stop, you definitely aren't going to get the views or subs or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, if you keep going for 10 years, 20 years, people are going to start following eventually, because they're going to probably jump from someone else. I mean, how long do you think Sham Sheeter can keep going with what he's doing and get people on board?
For a while.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. What did I do?
Did you boot someone who was in the waiting room?
Maybe. No, I didn't. I just did something stupid. Hold on, Stevie.
And I think I heard that CNN, that their viewership went down like 30%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're muted, Snork.
I removed CNN from my easy to access websites. I have to type it in if I want to go there now. That's how I'm training myself. So I used to go to CNN maybe 25, 30 times a day. Now I go maybe once or twice.
I heard Joy Reid is getting her show taken off the air again. And you know what? I actually followed her for a while, and then I don't know if she turned right around 2016 along with Matt Al, but I think that has to be what it was, because they took Joy Reid down, or they took her off the air, and then they brought her back. Maybe she bought into what they were selling, and she turned. Because I actually liked her for a while, and then all of a sudden it was, the pro corporate dim nonsense.
Yeah.
I think she was the first one that I actually followed when the Ferguson, Missouri thing happened. She was making sense back then. And then they took her off the air.
By the way, okay. Got it. Yeah, I mean, isn't it funny to reminisce about our days when we were in the Matrix, we were in watching corporate mainstream media, and we were like, oh man, that's crazy. Oh man, that's crazy. And then now we're out of it. It's like, man, it's crazier than when we were in it.
I remember when I was in college, I was following, it's like dim. I was following everybody who was a Democrat I was like, ooh, Tom Daschle, he's one of our stars. You know, it's like, you know, ooh, Howard Dean, yeah, go Howard Dean, damn. You know, oh, why did he switch? You know, when if somebody switched to the other party, oh, he's a betrayer. I was like pure Team Blue, and I'm looking back at it and I'm going, I was I was more clueless than I am now, way more clueless than I am now, and I don't even know how woke I am. You know, everybody uses that word. I don't know how much I actually know. I think one of the first things that is awesome is to know that you don't know. And there's a lot of stuff I don't know. So I must be a genius.
Yeah. Well, most people refuse to learn when they realize they know everything.
Right. Which is part of the problem. And part of the problem with some of the cornbread media. You know, I respectfully I respect your wrong opinion. I think Tim actually told me that one time.
That's such a tepid response, Dave.
Waiting room.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hold on. I was like, all right, he's either having a seizure or somebody's trying to get in. Hold on.
For because of Jamaro, Tim will now be forever known as Tepid Tim.
I'm sorry, Amanda. I'm sorry. Oh my god! I was in I was in, where the hell was I? I was somewhere. I was in a hotel somewhere, and I was watching the crap with Jamorl. I think I was in Pennsylvania, and I was like, "What the fuck? I mean, what?" You know. And Jamorl was really excited when he got on Tim, but his response was tepid. No, his response was perfect. It really was. It's like, I don't care. Whatever. Whatever, man. You know, minutia. But
yeah, I mean, like, his whole attitude was like, it is what it is, man. You know,
right.
Like, it's not going to make or break me, whatever.
He was like a little kid at the Lift Forum. Watching Jamorl, and I know, he's like, oh God, Dave, I'm just a YouTuber, for God's sake. But watching him interview people, it really, like, one-on-one is really a treat, because he is empathetic to what, even if he doesn't agree with what you're saying, if you have, any kind of sense whatsoever, he'll be like, he truly understands. It's not like he's trying to patronize you.
And that's what I like about the independent media round robin, if it ever occurs, is you get to see the different types of interview style and what comes up out of it, as far as what the interviewee says and answers, and the way that they act and react. Same thing with the interviewer. For me, I like to see where the conversation flows. I think that's where I just realized that's what I prefer.
Right.
I don't really want to like drill them into a corner.
Right.
Right. And because other people are going to go for that.
Did you or did you not sleep with that woman?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I mean, like, there's certain instances, like with like the Donna Brazile, like you want to see somebody go after her, but at the same time, it's like I want the conversation to happen. So it's like, I don't want somebody just sitting there yelling at somebody and saying like, admit you're a liar, but like, if you approach them in a conversational way and you approach them like, like that's what I like about like the independent way of like interviewing, because it's more of a conversation than it is,
Right.
you know, drilling them for information. So if you can't have like just a one-on-one basic back and forth without, you know, like, oh, well, I haven't checked the statistics or I haven't checked the polls and I don't know, is this going to hurt me if I say this? Like that right there is like, you know, red flag. Like if you just can't be real and have a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a question for you, Evan, and for Stevie, because you guys have both done interviews, and I just forgot the damn question. Never mind. Well, I mean,
Suggestion number 1: remember your questions.
Shit, I was gonna learn too.
But no,
You gotta remember it. You gotta remember.
hold on. It was
Okay, you said that since you interviewed.
yeah. It was about the interview. Oh, before you actually go on and before you tape, do you speak with the person beforehand for a little while, for a few minutes?
Yeah. So all I do is, like with especially Dr. Shiva, is I tell them, I just get, I probably call them or email them, give them the info. They join Zoom, give them a couple minutes to familiarize themselves with it, kind of go over what we're going to be doing, ask how much time that they have
Right.
beforehand, just kind of go over how the interview is going to be. Is, you know, it's, for me, it's just a free flowing conversation. I'll ask a few questions and we'll just kind of keep going. Or, you know, if it's kind of quiet, we may switch to other questions. There will be people joining in while we're having our conversations. They'll just kind of ask questions and also have their own responses. And, you know, if there's time, especially when there's a lot of questions within live chat, you know, just kind of give them the entire how we do things, as opposed to like when you hear like mainstream media, when they're about to interview, they're all friendly and whatnot,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden they go, "So are you trying to say that?" Right? So we're not trying to trick them or anything. We just want to have ordinary people have a conversation with
So
them.
you're for legalizing marijuana. Do you currently smoke marijuana illegally at work? Yeah, yeah. Like, and I love the 60 minutes like zoom in phase. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you or are you not?
Yeah.
So, I mean, SEMA just rambled on for like 2 hours with me and Holly, and I learned a lot from that because Holly really is an introvert,
Hmm.
and it was like I pretty much carried it for the most part.
Yeah. And you kind of want to, certain questions can be direct, and
Right.
and when they just kind of go on for a long time, and if it's even losing you, it's going to lose the audience. So you kind of want to break in and say, okay, let me get back to this thing, because I wasn't quite sure what.
Right. I'll be honest with you, with Stevie's interview of Sam, I don't know which. Oh, I think it was the election integrity. Oh my God, he went to like freaking, you know, he went to Panama, and he's, you know, I was like, he's all over the place, and I started to drift away, and I saw Stevie's eyes, kind of, you know, I was like, I don't know, it's kind of like that redirect. You got to redirect them.
It's like my attention span, like I have the attention span probably a little bit worse than average. So it's like, you know, not that he was saying bad stuff necessarily, but he was going on tangents that I was just like, I just timed out. Like my brain just timed out, you know, and I'm like, you know, looking back on it, I'm like, man, I really wish I would have like held him to this answer or like re-questioned him. But like, I don't know, the whole conversation just seemed so off. Like, it just didn't feel like an honest like back and forth. It felt like a really weird, very weird conversation to have.
That whole thing with the lazy public, that got me. I was like, what? I understand people are tired and apathetic and they're not plugged into politics, but he actually said that they were lazy. And then, somebody was like, no. He didn't mean it that way. I was like,
DV, are you sure it's a problem with your attention span, or is it your brain can process information a lot quicker than people can talk, and you just need condensed versions and you got it?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's just, I don't know. His answers just went way, way, way longer than what they should have. Like, it should be like I feel like when you ask a question of a politician, they should be able to wrap up their answer within a few minutes, or at least get like the basic gist of like what they have to say across in a few minutes.
Right.
And if they can't do that, it's like, how are you going to reach people? I mean, you got to be quick on your feet. You got to be able to condense this information down for people to consume.
Right. At the same time,
you just
like most people don't have 20 minutes for one answer.
Right.
You just confirmed what I thought. Yeah. Your brain is so intelligent that it can process information in a condensed thing, and you get bored and impatient, right?
Well, honestly,
yeah, I mean,
I'll go with that.
Honestly, I think you're like no nonsense, because West Virginia is fucked. So you want the answers as quickly as possible, and you don't want any bullshit, and you don't want people to meander all over the place. You want to get to the point. I think that's
With me, I know that I'm not so stupid. I need a huge long answer.
Right.
It's like, get down to it. Just give me the meat. I can figure it out. I don't need you to explain it in a huge...
Yeah, but like, it's not like the political way of explaining things that Sam does. Sam just talks fast, has a lot to say, and it's like Lucas. Lucas has a lot to say. It's not necessarily that they don't give the answers. They just kind of want to expand on their knowledge of it and then kind of give their perspective on it. It doesn't necessarily answer it in a direct way when you just ask them again, saying, so in short, is this what you're like? What exactly are you trying to say? Are you saying you're not for it? And then, you just kind of want to confirm what their long spiel was in short form,
right?
And I think that way, right after they go, yes,
because you don't want like courtroom answers either. You don't want yes, no, yes. Right. You don't want that. Sometimes, yeah, but not in an interview. I'm done in 10 minutes.
Remember the debates when Hillary and Bernie were asked a question, and Bernie goes, "My answer is going to be a little shorter than hers."
Yeah, especially when the interviewer says yes or no. Do you support, like, say, same-sex marriage, or do you support pro-choice? I mean, those are simple yes, no.
Well, Tonga and Sweden have these policies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of those can be simple, but then, like, if it's something like, do you support NAFTA? And they'll go, there's certain things in NAFTA,
yes.
Like if you're going to say Donald Trump will say, we just need to renegotiate. NAFTA as it is, it just needs to be renegotiated. He says it that way. It's not a yes or no as the typical politician. But then when you talk to someone who's pretty much adamant that, no, NAFTA's bad, but here's some good things that happen about NAFTA.
Well, the typical answer is we need to research that. or we need to look into that more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
It's like,
always
how did they know?
always the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've grown accustomed to that. We've been through the political jargon and political spiel, and it hasn't changed.
Right.
It hasn't changed since the 80s, 90s.
Stevie, what do you think about killing people with West Virginia water? We need to look into that.
Yeah. I mean, the research is still out. I mean, we got to look into it. I mean, it's an ongoing process. We're still learning.
That was her Joe Manchin. That was her Joe Manchin, and I did my Cenk Uygur. It was literally almost word for word what it was.
I mean, have y'all seen that picture of Joe Manchin that's been going around where he's standing by two different women? That one has a sign that says, for Planned Parenthood, and one that's against Planned Parenthood. It's that pretty much sums up our political, atmosphere right now.
Mm-hmm.
I am both for and against this thing.
Depends on who I'm talking to at the moment and what I want.
Yeah, if they're in the South, it's totally different. And like if you've seen Hillary Clinton, even if she goes down to the South, she starts getting a Southern accent a little bit.
Oh, that makes me throw up. It really does. Or that one time she teared up, and it may or may not have been genuine. And then every time she feels like she's in trouble in an interview, she starts.
I know.
One Indian tear. I'm like, stop it. Cut it out. I ate a hot dog yesterday and I have indigestion. That reminds me of all the children in Tallahassee with indigestion. Yeah, stop it.
I carry a hot sauce in my purse.
Yeah.
She grabs an onion and just jams it in her eye.
I do think we need to remind ourselves that the Indian in that old ad from the 60s was an Italian.
He was? I was actually thinking of exactly that. I didn't know that. Interesting.
I was shocked when I learned.
Wow.
My whole life I thought that's what Indians looked like.
I actually thought he was a Native American. I really did.
Well, Indians do look like that.
Well, I know, but I've met others. There's a broad difference in them, but that gave us all the image that they all looked like that.
Have you seen? There's Conspiracy Theorist channel and a group that say that the Native Americans are actually black, and that the historians changed the history to make Native Americans look non-black, like the current Native Americans, and that the original land of the Americas were black natives and not the current red natives. And they made up the story of Africans coming from Africa, and what they did was they actually shipped the Africans through Africa and back through. I don't know. It's very interesting how.
I heard that they brought them through the Caribbean islands and took American Indians down to the Caribbean islands to have to breed with the women. So you could say that they were from a neighboring country to meet with the Bible's criteria for where it's okay to be slaves. Because the Bible holds that it's okay to take slaves from a neighboring country.
I'm sorry.
I'm not making it up. I'm serious. I don't know where to look that one up.
Dave.
No, he's laughing at Dave's Uranus joke.
Oh.
But yeah.
So easy.
When I get on a roll of laughing, it's so hard for me to quit. Go ahead, Smirk. I'm gonna.
No, I was looking for the Uranus joke.
Oh, it's in the live chat. Yeah.
Something sad.
It's. I don't know. I mean, there are pictures of Native Americans, mixed heritage of blacks and natives, and I mean, we knew that natives were also enslaved as well as African Americans. It's just an interesting take on. I don't know why. I mean, I think they truly believe it. I don't think it's just, to get views, but they definitely think that the Europeans are actually from Africa, and it's interesting. If you really want to go down a weird rabbit hole, definitely go look it up. It's I don't know if I could go with it. Because I like diving into these things, going into the rabbit holes, investigating, but there's just no, the sources just don't.
My favorite rabbit hole that Evan ever went down was the web thing. Because
which web?
Who was it? Roger Webb? They're on to me. That guy. When Jenny was like
George Webb.
Yeah. George Webb. It was like, oh my God. Just that tangent you went off on. I was like, oh.
Oh, I gotta hear your tangent. I know it.
Well, no, they were like, oh, he's for real. He's to be trusted. And then like 2 weeks later, HA just decimated him. It was all of that stuff that he, I think he was all about Seth Rich, but he just got on camera. He was like, I'm in my bedroom. I think they're listening. I can't really say anything, but I have research. I can't say what the research is. They're on to me. It's like, what the fuck?
And he goes into a house where supposed one of the Wan brothers or someone who knew the Wan brothers were, and this is one of their houses. So he's like right in front of the houses, and he goes and rings the doorbell, and then like you see someone peeking out from the window, and like he goes, well, looks like someone's in there, but no one's answering. Anyways, and then he goes back to the sidewalk area and starts talking more. But in none of this, and this goes on for like not days, weeks, months, year. And like if you're following, the only way you know that what's going on is if you followed in the past and you do your own research about like the Wan brothers and all this other stuff. But where like it's like a big drama that unfolds and nothing happens except when he gets it wrong.
Right.
And that's how HA went off on him. It's like, dude, you don't just say that it's this and call the police or whatever, and it's dangerous journalism or whatever you want to call it. And in the way HA was right, but then the people who really like George, and George is very charismatic. Right. You could just get hypnotized with the way he talks and the way he goes about the conspiracy of the Wan brothers and all this other stuff, the rat lines and all this other stuff, except there's no documentation that he uses where people can follow it. And there's nothing where it's like you connect the dots and there we go. We can present that in a court, etc. We just need someone to take it up from there.
He had like freaking 100 and some videos of just him like in his car eating a Cheeto. It's like there was nothing. He just kept on repeating the same thing, and he had no documentation to back it up really. Or I think he did have some documents, but they kind of like went in circles. It was just like this followed this and this followed that, and I'm like. But he
did a weird one today.
He was so charismatic that he had HA going for like about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Boy, that doesn't take much to get him going, though.
But I mean,
but you can't badmouth him, Dave, because he's actually out there doing something.
I'm in my car. I did that. I couldn't. I kept on getting the names mixed up too, because there's a Roger Webb out there somewhere, and there's a George Webb, and then there's it's like this guy is just clearly someone's watching me. Yeah, you're outside the guy's house. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I never really got into like George Webb and like I don't know. I feel like before I even get a chance to start down like those kind of rabbit holes, there's all these other people that are out there like I don't know debunking stuff or like or my attention just gets kind of somewhere else. But like I don't usually go down these rabbit holes like that far.
Stevie,
like I'll hear some information. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I mean, like people that are suspicious of the government and stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, like you got a good point. I mean, yeah, I mean the evidence points towards they're fucking us over in multiple ways. So, you got me there. But anything else, like if you're going to go out there and claim all this stuff, like you definitely got to back. You definitely got to back it up.
Stevie, you're cool, but I can't see you chasing people with a handheld camera going, answer the question! You'd be like,
I don't know, man. If
you'd be grabbing a smoke and shit. It's like, hold on. Stay right there. I'll get you in a minute.
There is no way in hell that could get you shot.
I could see her tackling freaking Joe Manchin's daughter about Mylan. Get your ass back over here. Answer the fucking question. I could see that, but because like just some kind of George Webb, freaking conspiracy stuff. I don't understand the whole Kim.com thing too. I don't. When he came out and he said that he had stuff about Seth Rich, and then the stuff he came out with, I don't get it. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Kim.com was wronged as far as how he was treated, but I don't know where his intentions lie as far as, I mean, if
it looked like he was doing an ad.
Evidence, yeah, but if he's got that evidence, dude, just present that evidence and let everyone else figure it out.
And if you're not going if you're not going to present the evidence, don't say I'm going to present the evidence and then don't.
Or with an ultimatum,
right? I'm like, come on,
right? But maybe he's scared. He wants
that's possible
for protection.
But I would think that if you're like, I always go back to Dorothy Kilgallen. Unless you're going to like present the evidence, don't tell people I have the evidence and I'm going to come out with a blockbuster story tomorrow. Okay, I'm going home. This is my address.
It's like what's his name? The actor who wants to name the names of the people or make a documentary about the pedophiles in Hollywood.
Right, Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman. Yeah. That he needs like $2 million to make a documentary to expose it.
What?
Just expose it.
just say who they are. I mean, he did name one or two people. He
named a couple, especially when he was talking to the police department.
Yeah, I feel bad for that kid. I really do. He just looks really messed up.
I think something really did happen to him.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, like, I know he gets a lot of shit for exploiting it or whatever, like using it to push like book deals or documentaries and shit. But like, Yeah, he might be, but I still think that something really did happen to him.
You just see pain in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I mean, even like, let's say, like, even setting aside like the sexual allegations and stuff. I mean, when you take a kid and you force them to like perform and you know, do tricks for money, it's like, you know, it's bound to mess them up. I mean, you're not giving them, you know, a normal, you know, healthy childhood by doing, you know, stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just bound to be, you know, issues that arise from you know, practices like that.
Well, when I hear about the stories about, you know, how rampant pedophilia is, or how, you know, it's coming. I swear it's coming. The story about the Olympic trainers and coaches, and I'm not just talking about Larry Nassar. 250 instances of sexual assault allegations worldwide. I'm like, what the hell? And then we're worried about Shaun White sending texts. I'm not saying that it wasn't wrong, but I'm like, you look at the big picture and look at everything that's going on. And look at everything that's going on in sports. Look at what happened to the gymnastics team. And look at how the victims are being portrayed as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a story where this preacher is saying that something is bound to happen when girls dress in provocative outfits in gymnastics. No. Oh
God, there's so many levels that's just messed up.
Well, my first response is investigate that preacher.
And this is just the American gymnastic team. Can you imagine all the other types of countries that are a lot more authoritarian? I don't know. Are there more? Yeah, they're, you know, a lot worse than us.
Well, honestly, the Chinese team, I heard a lot of stuff about not the sexual abuse, but like physical, like they just drive people to do, you know.
Oh yeah, it's like 16-hour days almost.
Right.
And like unless they do perform that to the standards that they want, they can't visit their family, all this other stuff.
Right.
They can't quit, or else they won't get, you know, their family won't get, you know, the stipend, the additional stipend they get by being able to represent the country.
You see these girls crying because they didn't medal, because that's, you know, that's what they. But the whole thing with the Larry Nassar thing, one of the coaches, he was driving these girls to injury, and then Larry Nassar would pick them up and heal them. I'm like, you know, and that's just one instance. I'd
like to know what prison Larry Nassar is going into. Is he going into like a rich person's prison where he's not going to have issues, or if he's going to like a typical state?
No, he's going in rape me in the ass prison. He really is. He's going to real prison, and
that's good.
Yeah. So, and they're not going to play. So he will probably die in there. Yeah. Because that's one thing that, you know, pedophiles do not do well.
Yeah, which is funny. They get the real justice in the prison.
Right. Well, Jeffrey Dahmer, that's what happened to him. He got a shovel to the head. Yeah. I'm not saying that, you know, what was him? You know, no one deserves that. No, he deserved it.
Yeah.
It's not did he deserve it or not. The thing is, when people are in prison, they're no longer able to do their own. And some people are in prison are there wrongly.
Right.
Since we can't really tell who's there wrongly or not, I think we have drastically underdone our responsibility to prisoners. If they're raping each other, that should not be the punishment. You know, I realize, of course, some of them did rape women, but because some could be there by accident, we need to treat them all like they could be there by accident. And we've got a responsibility to prevent the criminals from doing harm to each other.
Well, the thing is, Snork, is if they get to that point where they're in prison, our justice failed either way.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, but realistically, we need to be thinking of how our systems are laid out that all this is able to happen. You know, if we have a thing where twice a day they go into general public, maybe the general public idea is not working properly. Because you know, if somebody's unconscious, you have an obligation to how they're treated until they're able to handle themselves again. And I think the same thing should be while you're in prison. The prison should be guaranteeing some level of safety. Otherwise, it is a cruel and unusual punishment that I don't believe is constitutional.
Yeah, I mean, like in instances like these, like with like pedophiles and stuff, it's like we kind of rely on the injustices of our system to be the justice. You know, like, you know, people joke about that. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know, well they're a pedophile, so they're going to go to prison and they're going to get raped. But like, what about the people that don't deserve to be there that get raped? What about the people that, I mean, like, even if you committed a crime, like, does that mean you should be able to be raped? Like, that's just like it's crazy that like that's the system that we have in place.
But here's another thing, and here's my take on it: is, you know, we're saying we don't want to give pedophiles or serial killers cruel and unusual punishment, but the people that they kill and harm had cruel and unusual punishment on them.
But I'm not thinking of them as the revenge on that. I'm thinking about how we're treating people that are put in jail because they happen to be in the wrong place, or they needed somebody to be convicted. And that happens so often amongst the minorities, especially the blacks, that I think that we create this horrible system that needs to be abolished. And we are barbaric if we aren't addressing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to, like, we don't really have a system in place for rehabilitating people. It's all about punishment and making these people miserable. Like, I mean, like, if somebody was to, like, murder a family member of mine, like, hell yeah, of course I'd want, you know, some kind of, like, retribution. But at the end of the day, like, I don't want somebody, like, I'd rather have them rehabilitate. I'd rather this not happen again. Like that goes more to the core of the issue than just punishing one person. Like, I'd rather just not have that happen to other people. So it's like, you know, I mean, there has to be a certain level of, like, justice, but, you know, at the end of the day, like, we need, like, rehabilitation should be the core issue.
I very in very rare cases believe in the death penalty, but when it comes to, you know, people like Dahmer and John Wayne Gacy and Eddie Gein and all of
Ted Bundy,
the people who truly are not, you know, they're not going to be rehabilitated. I believe in the death penalty for those individuals, and if you want to buy lethal injection, that I don't have a problem with that. And as far as serial molesters, I really don't know the best way to deal with, because they're never going to be rehabilitated. Never.
I don't believe they can be rehabilitated either. What I'm saying is that we cannot use prison abuse on other prisoners as
no. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I'm for the death penalty, But my questions about the death penalty are the huge number of cases that were overturned in Illinois.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there's been times where this police officers, whatever, plant evidence just because the person's black or Hispanic or something else, and then later they've been, someone investigating a cold case and using DNA testing and all this other stuff, and they go, this person was innocent. And then they get,
Illinois is pretty, yeah.
Yeah, they were basically, well, you're black enough to get convicted, you're going in. And that should never be the case. And personally, I think until we have a better way of making sure that the cops aren't playing that game, that we shouldn't be using the death penalty. I would rather err on the side of safety and say, if we're certain, then we should not be risking the guards. That we should be using the death penalty. I'm only against the death penalty because I don't see a way right now for us to have that level of surety that we did get the conviction right.
Well, in those cases of those individuals that I mentioned, I can't, to me there was no doubt. And Richard Speck, as another one. That was kind of an odd case because of his brain deformity, and I think they knew about it, so they didn't. I think they didn't go about it, but when it comes to, just those child molesters and anybody who molests and kills a child, to me, if it's proven beyond a reasonable doubt, they should be gone. As far as molesting, they can't be in society. You wanna put them in prison? Okay. To me,
they can never be.
They can't be rehabilitated.
They're wired.
Yeah, I've never seen anything that says that they can be rehabilitated.
But it is, it is a more nuanced discussion than what I just said. I understand that, but I don't know where to put them. But
and to me, somebody should be placed into a vehicle if they're arrested. They shouldn't be at risk of having an accident that kills them.
Right.
I mean, there should be a review for any injury that happens when you're in the care of a police officer. They shouldn't be thrown in the back of a truck and then driven down bumpy roads without adequate safety. And I think we really do have an obligation to somebody who is suspected but not proven guilty yet, to treat them with some level of respect of the possibility that they may be innocent.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you look at the statistics, I mean, so many people get locked up, and just something just as common as like not being able to afford a lawyer will result in you being guilty. I mean, there's plenty of legitimate criminals out there that have gone out and hurt people, but I mean, when you look at the incarceration rates and what people are getting locked up for, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, like the stuff that we put people in prison for. I mean, nonviolent. I mean, it should be just a basic law. If you're nonviolent, you should not be in prison. Prison is to keep other people safe from you. I don't know, like just the silliest stuff that we can lock people up for, and we're doing it.
Somebody gets arrested for pot. They miss their court date. They go get gas or something, and they're in whatever state. They drive they make a right-hand turn when they should have made a left-hand turn. They cross the state lines. They get caught by the cops. I heard a story like that, and the guy's still in prison because he missed a court date for a pot possession thing. It's like, first off, I think we pretty much agree that pot is not a huge crime, but or kratom.
And even say you have a car, you don't have your license card renewed on time, right. You don't have your tabs updated on time, you get a ticket, the cop pulls you over, you get a ticket for that, then you have to pay more.
Right. Then
you realize, oh, you don't have money to pay the tab again because you have to pay the fee, the violation, and then and then you don't pay for a certain amount of time, then all this other stuff.
Well,
it's viral.
John Oliver mentioned that. I mean, I know there are people that aren't big on John Oliver, because he busted on Jill Stein and whatever, but he did do this one story on how you have poor people who get maybe a parking ticket for $25, and it turns into this huge thing with interest, and now they owe $500 and something, and they can never pay it off, and now they end up in jail for whatever, and they have some payment plan or some nonsense where after a certain amount of time they can get out, and meantime what happens with their kids, and they lose their job. So it just, and it was the debt is sold to private companies from what I remember. So these companies hold this debt, and then until you pay the debt, you stay in jail. From what I remember. So.
But then, how do they get their money back? Because they lose money by doing that. They'd rather you work and eventually get it paid off, and they don't care about. And they buy off the debt pretty cheap,
right?
So they're just looking to make at least their money back or a little bit more,
right? Well, I think what happens is the prisons sell off the debt, so the prison makes money because they forget.
That's how they got it there.
Let's say it's like $50. They sell it to whoever for $100, knowing full well that the person, is gonna eventually owe $300.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And they also have things like stacked up as far as like probation goes, like like the laws they put in place for like people on probation makes it so easy to just throw them back in the system. So it's like, they'll pay so much into it in order to get like their ankle bracelet and the home monitoring and all this stuff. And then once they paid so much into it, it's like, they have a system that's set up to where they're going to fuck up, they go back to prison, so you get all that money on top of, now you got your prison labor, all that, it's they're making money either way.
Right.
Have you guys seen there's like a YouTube channel about this homeless guy, or a guy in California who just kind of goes out to where the homeless are and kind of talks to some of them and stuff like that. There's one where he interviewed, or no, it wasn't this. There's a separate story where this one journalist took a picture of someone like back in the 70s or 80s, and it kind of, it was like one of those pictures that just made headlines. And then they and then that he found who this person was because he was actually a famous football player. He's like a legend for that state for one of the universities. And he came clean, and he invited called the journalist and said, "Hey, if it wasn't for that picture, I would have probably been dead." And he pretty much tells the entire story of how he got to that point. And because he was like retired NFL player, he had a pension, and he was on drugs and alcohol. I think it was alcohol mostly. And he would pretty much spend all his money, and he would owe the people who sold drugs and all this other stuff. They'd be there to collect. And the thing is, he would have died otherwise, because if he can't pay, they're just gonna, mess you up, and pretty much you're dead. But they knew that he had a pension, so they just waited for, his check to clear, and then he'd be scraping by, homeless and always drunk and whatever, until the next time. And it's a pretty cool article if you can find it. It just goes to, it's just hard for people to get out of certain situations when they hit rock bottom. And this guy was at.
I think I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head.
Me neither. I guess I'll try to find it someday and share it, because it's a pretty cool story. But
I think there's another channel, Forgotten People, I think it is. I'd have to go on YouTube. I'm subscribed to him on YouTube.
Yeah, but this one was an article.
No, but there's a guy. I think it's the guy you're talking about. He went and he filmed his own where he was staying, and they had like bed bugs and stuff. And then he was like attacked outside of his apartment, and his landlord just laughed and let it happen. And it was all like filmed. I can't remember the guy's name. Now I feel bad.
Yeah, there's no safety net anymore. There used to be, it seemed like, but there's no safety net. Government, otherwise. I mean, you might have some in some church somewhere, but that's temporary. You're basically back out in the streets after you get that brief shelter, and there's only a limited amount of shelter and food. But basically, when you're out there, you can't save your money anywhere. It's hard to start over.
I mean, and look, I'm not the most religious person in the world, but there used to be some sanctuaries for people and some help out there. And I remember churches, helping out in the community, but I don't see it anymore. I don't see where are the homeless supposed to go? When I see signs that say "Don't feed the homeless." What are you? What are they supposed to do?
And
you create a crime situation.
Yeah. And it feels like less people are religious, so I think like less money is going to the churches, and then maybe I don't know, maybe some have gotten a lot of money and just pay it upwards wherever it goes. I mean, have you seen some of the homes that some of these religious higher ups live in? They have their church and they have their home. Their homes are like bigger than some of these millionaire politicians even. Okay. All right, I'll be back.
Dog.
That's what it's like trying to sit here with Victor on my chest. He's reaching forward, trying to get. Oops.
Yeah, no kidding, Stevie.
Oh.
I hate that. I resent that molesters and rapers get off from being convicted.
And we really don't have anything in place for the victims. I mean, like, I mean, we only talk about like, you know, throwing the people that did it in jail. But I mean, like, is there any kind of discussion about like what can we do for the victims of this stuff, like to make sure that they can move on with their lives and make sure, like, you know, they're okay? I mean, like, it just seems like, okay, well, let's just throw the people that did it in prison. Most of the time, that doesn't even happen. And if they do, it's like for what, a year or two, and they might get probation. But like, you know, I mean, that's something that people have to deal with, like, on a daily basis. You know, it's not like they just wake up and they're like, well, it's been, you know, 3 months. Well, I guess I'll just get over that shit. You know, it's like, that's something that kind of sticks with them for a long, long time.
Well,
and if you think about it, they get free room and board. We don't get free therapy, and we don't get compensated. The courts and all that, they are the ones that get the money.
The stuff that happened to me was when I was really, really, really little, and you know, you don't understand what's going on, and you internalize it, and you think you're doing something wrong, and you know, it stays with you. It stays with you. You know, it stayed with me for 45 years. So,
well, just like other countries have health care, they treat victim rehabilitation as, well, not as health care, but as another service that you're entitled to.
Jesus, how nice.
And I think it's Great Britain and the Scandinavian countries mostly that do it. I don't know about Germany and France, but you know, there's an agency that's their thrust is to say, okay, you know, this person's going to have the inability to take their garbage out because they can't go into alleys again in their life.
Right.
You know, psychologically, there's places they can't go, or this gunshot took off their leg, they're not going to be able to shovel snow. That, you know, for life, this person has some type of mental or physical injury that they're not going to be able to deal with, and they need a victim compensation unit to at least help them manage their life. And you know, we can't even get to first base yet to get health care, and I don't see this as being any different than health care. If you have a life-changing event, it wasn't your fault. Why is that not, you know, and you're going to have a physical or mental impairment for life? Why isn't that treated at the same level as a medical condition?
Or a mental health?
Well, yeah, I don't really see a difference myself between mental health and dental health and health. I see it all the same. I see it as health. You know,
yeah, I mean, it kind of goes to the overall process. I mean, if your mental health is bad, it's going to wreak havoc on your physical health. If you have poor dental health, it's going to wreak havoc on, you know, your mental and physical health. So it's like, you know, all these things like playing together, but like we have all these categories that we keep it separate so that way we can fight for them individually, one at a time. It's like, oh, well, first we're going to fight for health care, then we're going to get mental health care, and then, you know, eventually we'll get dental health care. But like, it all goes to the same thing. It's like, it's all part of our body. Like, how is it that mental health is considered a privilege? Like, you know, like, that's kind of something that we all need. Like, we all need some kind of basic level of like mental well-being. But, you know, that's just a privilege. It's just a privilege in today's society, as long as, yeah, as well as teeth. You know, like, teeth are like, you know, oh, well, that's for rich people. Like, teeth aren't for poor people. You know, we can lose those, get dentures or not, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But you know, some mental issues have their roots in physical problems, deficits or whatever. Some physical problems have their roots in mental problems, and that's called psychosomatic illness. That does not mean it's not real; it just means it's caused by the brain. But you can have ulcers and things like that that are actually psychosomatic in the case where they're not a truly just a bacterial. You can worry so much that you corrode parts of your intestine. So I like, again, I say I see no boundary. To me, it's just health. And you know, and at some point, our Constitution, what was that things that were required in the First Amendment? That the president's there to provide for our well-being, or our, what is that? And to me, that means well-being. There's a responsibility of our government to take care of us when we are injured. Now, to a lawyer, injury includes loss of property, correct? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that pretty much means victim compensation across the board. You need, let's say you don't need to become a billionaire after you're robbed or something, but there does need to be a system where you can perform and continue on your life. And with many of the victims of violent crimes, sexual harassment, all that, there is some impairment on their life, and that needs to be dealt with. Also, there's a thing of, and I've got sons and daughter, so there are costs that women have that men don't have. And I also think that society needs to bear that difference in cost.
Like, what have you noticed?
Well, supplies.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of supplies guys don't need to buy. Well, for women, that's like a life tax, right?
It makes everybody else happy around us too.
Huh?
It'll make everybody else happy around us too.
Right. But again, you have to purchase them.
Right.
Right.
Could you imagine having somebody, if you want me to sit on your couch and not make a mess, you need to buy me.
Is my line of thought wrong?
No.
I mean, if we want our society to flourish, we need to make it fair for everyone. We need to be, I mean, look at yourself, an intelligent person that really don't get a chance to use it, right? You have to fight to be able to have people realize that you're intelligent. That shouldn't be the case. From the time you were a young girl, you should have presented that you should be able to use your knowledge. I know a lot of extremely intelligent women, and I've known a lot that have been just kept out of the path that they should have taken in order to use their capabilities. And I see that as a complete failure of the systems all the way back down to when they were children. That the schools basically, well, you're a bit younger than I am, but not quite as old. You know, when we do things in class, the guys would be doctors, the girls would be the nurses. You know, things like that. Didn't really get to even consider the option that, well, in chemistry, a lot of times there is a pool of women that do far better in chemistry than men. By not encouraging them to go into the route of becoming chemists, we've really put an anchor on the advancement of our society. And there's a lot of other careers like that you know, we've prevented them from taking on. Probably had a lot of guys that could have been nurses. I mean, since the Gulf War, the number of male nurses has really improved. But we have to be looking at what careers are we going to do with people. And honestly, as automation takes over a lot of other things, it will not take over the personal care so much of people. That will always be there. Did I get off on a tangent?
No, I'm processing. Sorry. You got to know that if I'm quiet like that, really quiet, it's because I'm just like, I'm going to the beginning and processing it.
I have the capability of putting people to sleep, so I gotta be careful.
Listen, I was reading all of the chat and everybody talking about how people suck. I am sorry that people suck and that people in the past have sucked to the point where they fuck with people's lives. I really feel it. But just know I'm around and that I'm, anybody wants to talk about this crap, that's fine. It's just, the thing that got me, Snork, is that, I basically got attacked when I was a 5-year-old kid, and it was bad. It was very traumatic, and I got out of it by being smart, basically yelling fire, and teacher came and took care of it. My dad beat my ass for not defending myself like a man. So, it's basically attacked by three kids twice my age. And it's like, there's nothing I could do. Nothing.
Yeah.
And especially when you got these kids that are like, in these situations where it's somebody that's in power that abuse them. Like you see this with like the Catholic Church. It's like, even when they speak up and they tell somebody something, it all gets brushed under the rug. It's like, these kids are like, they're kids, and they're still like, hey, they know enough. It's like, this is fucked up. Somebody do something. Somebody help me. And it's like, it all falls on deaf ears because, like, their parents sweep it under the rug, the clergy sweeps it under the rug, or their coaches do, and it's just like, it's just so much easier for people to go back into that. It's like they don't want to be disrupted from their society or whatever. It's like, it's like, oh, I know you got molested, I know you got raped or whatever, but like, oh God, I got a good thing going with these people. Like, I don't want to fuck anything up, so let's not do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, when I was a little kid, my brother would roll me up in a carpet. He was really overweight. When he was 10 years old, he was over 200 pounds overweight. He would roll me up in a carpet and just beat me until I pass out.
Oh my God.
So, it's, my father's theory on that was it builds character.
It always builds character.
I would catch my little brother in my room and playing with my toys no matter how many times. So I started dragging him by the hair and in the back of his hair, and I would put him down the cold air return, and I'd slam that grate, and I would just sit there stomping on it, telling him rats were going to eat him up.
That must have been a huge cold air return.
Hell yeah, they were like pretty big.
So you had your own dungeon.
Oh, it would make me mad because he wouldn't. It was my room. You ask and then ask if you can play with my toys, and then put my toys back. Don't break my toys. Don't take them and go put them out in the mud outside.
Seems like the common.
Like me and my sister and my brother got into we got into feuds like that all the time. But I did not really retaliate until my sister messed with my books. And I was like, she destroyed a book that I never even got a chance to read. I was like, okay, war has been declared. Okay, it was all out after that. But like little stuff, like you break my shit, like okay, I can move on. You break my books, buddy, it's war. But you know what? She didn't fuck my books after that.
Oh. Looks like Kelly just uploaded a interview with Tim Canova and Lulu.
Okay.
Lulu? What's Lulu?
I don't know.
Well, Tim Canova is one of the C4 people, so that makes sense. He's one of the higher profile C4 people now. So
yeah.
So it's Tim Canova. Don't be surprised if Kelly interviews Rokana.
Yeah, I'm sure she's very excited about that.
Oh, I want to see that.
Hope she asks a couple of questions that we would ask.
Where do you see Lulu? I see YouTube.
Here's the link on the live chat. Oh, that's odd. I guess she must have updated the original video upload, because on when I accessed it, an older link, it had Lulu. I'm like, who's Lulu? Hey, no making fun of Rokana. He's
Justice Democrat.
Yeah, he's their champion.
Oh, thank God.
He's a true progressive, y'all. He's got morals and values.
And money.
Oh yeah.
And he's got the pharmaceuticals, and he's got the telecommunications.
And more importantly, he has money.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man.
I'm still trying to decide what to think of 2020.
It's a good vision to have.
Well, I signed up to go see my senator on Tuesday at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And just to hold up the red card, green card thing, you know.
Okay.
Just to let him know what I think. And then today we got notice that Bernie Sanders is going to be here.
Yes.
2 hours later, 50 miles away. So if I go to the senator thing, I really would have to rush to get to the Bernie thing. But my opinion as of now is that I keep seeing the Kamala Harrises, the Cory Bookers, and whatever. And sure, I feel that putting Bernie in as a Democrat again is the same thing as Lucy and the football. But I still think that I would vote for Bernie over the other in another primary.
Look, Kristen Gillibrand, Cory Booker, and Elizabeth Warren have all sworn off PAC money. Don't you believe them?
Yeah.
They must be legit.
But I'm trying to think if I should go to the Bernie thing on Tuesday.
Who's your senator?
Grassley.
Go to Bernie.
Grassley and Ernst.
Oh God, go to Bernie. Dude,
hey, look,
Grassley, really?
I can pull a wolf pack here. Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, they changed this time for real.
Yeah. Well,
they really mean it this time.
My thought is a strong showing at the Bernie event.
Listen, if you turn your back, we're not gonna beat you in the back of the head this time.
No, I meant a strong showing should throw a lot of concern to the other candidates that, hey, this time there's still a lot of people that don't want anybody that doesn't meet the ideals that Bernie presented.
You know,
So build as a healthcare town hall.
yeah.
And
Well,
I think it's going to send a message that if 10,000 people show up in a town of 100,000 people,
yeah.
if you want to come here to run for president in 2020, because this is almost what this is, opening salvo for running for president,
Mhm.
you better be single payer or don't come to Iowa.
Yeah. And imagine if Bernie Sanders runs again in the Democratic primary. I don't want him to, but I think there could be a good reason for it. Because if Hillary Clinton is running
Oh God.
and he pulls away a big caucus win in Iowa,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
that you
pretty
know
much
what?
it.
That actually makes sense that he would come to Iowa now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I should go no matter what.
yeah.
I've got a problem. I've got something that weighs 20 pounds that's getting ready to jump on me.
Yeah.
I go just wherever you can maximize your bitching. Like wherever you've got your problem, it's good to like go somewhere where you agree with the message, but like if you have a chance to disrupt somebody like Grassley or whatever, like go ruin their day. Like go fuck something up for them.
That's what I do.
Well, that's what I had planned.
Throw
Just
the
be sure.
throw the cat on him.
Yeah.
But just Snort, be sure and get there early though, because you just might not be able to get in. How many people are in that town?
About 100,000. There's another 40 or 50,000 just south of it in Iowa City.
I would get there way early so you can be sure and get in.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking I might have to skip the Grassley event. They're just so close together and so far apart.
Is that him purring?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear it? Do you need me to mute?
Oh, God, he sounds like a lion.
Have you noticed the size of this thing?
Is that Victor?
Yeah. We just call him Victor. You can see the size of my head. A little house tiger.
It figures
Zox keeps on bringing up that Grassley is a key player in fighting the Clinton corruption, and he's the shit. And I'm not a huge Grassley fan, but okay.
I might go still, and then leave at 5 and go down to the Bernie event.
Well, you have to wear a Hillary Clinton T-shirt then.
I'm with her.
Dress up like a hillbot. Put
wear a pussy hat.
Put your pussy hat on, the whole thing. Wear James's team green coconut bra, whatever. Go all out. Fuck it.
I'm kind of lazy, and I was putting my empty pop cans above me on the shelf.
Yeah, I saw that.
And when he wanted down, he was just walked up to the cans and started pushing off the cans on me. Now, he wants to go to bed.
Listen to that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Grassley.
Well,
Grassley's
about the same height as you. Look at the size of this thing compared to me.
No wonder. You're a little lion.
Mm-hmm. We have he has a shirt. It's a thing to hold his leash, and it's got tiger stripes on it.
Oh, apropos.
We take him outside, and everybody would just love to see him in his little shirt. That's why I was saying when I saw Evan laying there, I knew I knew what it's like to have that and try to use the keyboard.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's upstairs feeding with the mother.
And this one needs a lot of attention. It's tag team attention for the cat. He's going to want food. Then he wants to go to bed. And then when my son gets up, he'll go upstairs and be with my son for a while. And then my daughter will take a shift with him, and he has to lay on her for a while.
That's pretty friendly cat.
Yeah, he is.
Most cats don't want to be that social.
Originally, we had him and his brother got killed. Ran out of the door right into a truck. And so we had two that were like almost identical twins. And and they were in a cage for 6 months before we got them. So whenever they would eat, they would have to, there wasn't room in the cage for them to move around. So they would have to do everything beside each other and constantly move around like this. So when the one died, this one was just instantly, didn't know how to eat by himself. We would have to stand by the food dish with him to help him eat. And then he would try to walk up against your leg as you walked, like he used to walk beside his brother. If they were going to leave the room, they would come together and push up against each other and walk through the doors together always. So that's probably why he's such a human loving cat, is that he immediately bonded with my son and would be with my son all day. And if my son wasn't home, then he'd be with me or somebody else.
All right, so like jumping back to Bernie Sanders, and it's the same with Sam Ronan. Like at first, we were like, why would Sam want to go with the Republicans? It's just, I don't know. We know that the Democrats suck, but the Republicans do just as much. But then after talking with Paul Chapman, of course, primarying the current senator is a good strategy as well. With Bernie, everyone wants him to run as an independent. I do. The thing is, there might be a good reason for him running again as a Democratic primary, not just for in 2016 he fell in line with Democrats. Now this time, what he can do is have the Democrats fall in line with him, and that's what he's always wanted. And we'll see if that's the case. But if he pulls a 2016 Bernie, people aren't going to follow him. That's the thing.
I think that there are indications that people are doing the lip service, like this whole, I'm not taking any more PAC money thing. Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, and Kirsten Gillibrand already said they're not doing it. So I already think that Kirsten Gillibrand is going to run, no doubt. I wouldn't be surprised if Booker and Warren did it, but I think that they are following the Bernie line. But Bernie hasn't even said that he's not going to take PAC money, which is interesting.
When I start seeing him visit Iowa, I'll let everybody know, because that's almost. Bernie's making 2 stops this month in Iowa at least, and he's going to make 2 stops. That's pretty much president.
Well, you'll know from what he's saying. You'll know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing is, he's not going to raise as much money as he did in 2016. I don't think. Not from individual donors.
I think that depends. I think at first that's going to be the case, but as we keep getting presented with more and more unacceptable candidates from the hardcore right-wing Democrats, I think that his donorship will go up again. And unless another candidate comes forth that is more progressive than Bernie.
Who do you think would be his running mate? Do you think he'd actually pick Tulsi Gabbard?
I don't know. I want to see Tim Canova get into an office where he has some government experience. I would like to see Tim Canova run for president in 2024. Other than that, I have no clue who I would consider to be a viable candidate at all.
Do you think that Canova would be a good cabinet?
I think Canova would make an excellent president, but he doesn't have the experience, and I think that's what
you mean like Donald Trump?
Well,
like President Bush?
I don't think Trump could have got in unless Hillary had been paying the Russians to get him to be the nominee, and then thinking that she could beat Trump.
Damn it, Stevie!
I think that was the entire scenario.
Damn it, Stevie! You friggin' Russian bot, you!
Yeah. And I'm serious. I don't think he would have got in unless Hillary hadn't been paying them to have him helped to be put in that position.
Do you think the press knowingly did what they did? I mean,
I think they did.
They had to.
They laughed at every other candidate other than Hillary and Trump.
Yeah, the coverage that Trump got was just tremendous. He didn't even have to pay for it.
Yeah, same. Well, Hillary really didn't either. She did because that was how she paid all of her consultants.
Right.
This consultant crew needs to be all fired. They need to get taken off the payroll now.
No. Keep the same consultants, please.
What happened?
The problem is the local candidates here, the local parties are just bankrupt because they have to send so much money up to the main party. We have a lot of decent Democratic Party candidates here in Iowa that are unable to keep the money they raise because they have to send it up.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be.
It's trickle down economics for politicians.
It's trickle up.
I know. They just call it trickle down.
Yeah. Well, it's trickle up of the money, but it's trickle down in the bad reputation that it's called the halo effect, where you get blamed for the people you're with.
Right.
Yeah.
And the number of precincts that we didn't even get one person to show up was just horrifying.
I have a feeling that if Bernie runs in 2020 and if he runs in general election, Nina Turner would probably be his pick, not Tim Canova.
That's a possibility. I don't think Tim Canova would be the pick for vice president. Like I said, as much as I think that I would like to see him be, yeah. I think political clout-wise, since he doesn't have the mainstream media in the pocket, that he has to work and earn his way up, and that it's going to take 8 years.
I mean, Tim Canova, is Debbie Wasserman
he's got to win against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Once he does that, he's got the credibility to do anything.
And if he does win, I mean, if Bernie wins and Tim Canova takes over DWS's spot, I think you've got something strong there. The Hillary Clinton era is officially pretty much over.
I think it's over when Grayson gets back into office. Tim Canova's part of it, but I think we need Grayson too. Grayson as the governor of Florida would take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, the Democratic Party at the presidential level keeps throwing us up people that are to the right of Hillary that like to say they're to the left of Bernie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
anybody that has not asked for the resignation of Nancy Pelosi should not be eligible to run.
So who do you think?
Feinstein.
Who do you think the Green Party and Libertarian Party are going to have?
I don't know.
Margaret Flowers for the Green Party. That's who they've been. That's who they were pushing about a year ago. I don't think Jill Stein's going to run again.
No. Human factors.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, no matter how good she is, people, you know,
they want to see something new.
Well, you know, in fantasy football games in the office, people pick their teams by the color of the uniforms. Right. And we do still do the same thing for president. And we have to think when we pick a candidate, are there factors, regardless how stupid they are, that would prevent this candidate from being voted on? Because we need a win. We need a win by somebody good. And we can't run somebody again on an identity politics. You know, Obama, I really feel was pushed into office by Oprah Winfrey, who had the hearts of many people that trusted her and believed her, that when she said Barack Obama was the person that should be president, and he had the ability to speak and whatever, that he's going to be the first black president, and that was the major impetus for him to get in.
I remember when she basically endorsed him.
And that
was it.
That was it. He was in. And it became very politically incorrect not to want him. And I was at the meeting before he became senator, and one of his speeches. And there is somebody that I really wanted to be president. I really thought of him as a young Kennedy, also running for senator. And he really gave points and all at why he should be the senator, things he wanted to get done. And everybody just remarked about how well Barack Obama spoke. And I'm like, wait a minute. We had one guy that just talked about attitudes, and another guy that had plans. And we threw out the guy that had plans. That would have been president by now. We probably wouldn't have all this crap.
Yeah.
Hey, Snark, I'm going to go night-night.
All right.
Good night, man.
All right, love you.
Love you. But that's always the case, Snark. People, we've been conditioned, at least American society, to pick the charismatic.
Yeah, it's a style over substance.
But again, we can't go by identity again. We can't say I'm going to be the first president of my whatever identity and expect to be the one that's in line. It's got to be what they're capable of doing first. And then the identity is a bonus. It shouldn't even be considered, shouldn't even be talked about.
I don't know, Snorg. That's just you being racist and misogynist.
Yeah.
I am going to be the first crazy-haired president of the United States.
Yeah. When I get to be dark enough to be white, I'll let you know.
You
can see how I glow down here, right?
Curious.
The blood shows right through my skin.
Yeah. Kennedy versus Nixon. Who did you think was the better candidate?
You know, I really didn't know Nixon, his accomplishment at the time. But even what little, he certainly didn't present himself well.
Right.
And of the candidates we are seeing, realistically, I think a lot of the candidates need to be saying, do I present myself well enough to really be a candidate? And that's important. that they've got to have the walk, they've got to have the talk, and you know, so.
In all honesty, that's one of the knocks that I think we can have some of the Green Party candidates. I know Stevie disagrees with me strongly. Right, Stevie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right, okay. But some of the Green Party guys, they don't have it's not even the charismatic, they don't have the swagger, and they don't have the this is it. This is what we should be doing. They're all over the place.
They got to be polished.
Yeah.
The guy who got on tonight, I thought really did a good job of constantly hitting the mark.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, he's the strongest candidate we've seen.
Of the green ship.
I mean, dude, that guy last night just killed me. I'm sorry, but I mean, like, seriously, asteroids? That's your selling point? Possible asteroids? Like, I don't know. There's so much crap that we have to deal with on a daily basis, and you want to focus on a figurative maybe, like an asteroid's going to hit us? Like, dude, come on, get with it. Like, if you can't even, like, I mean, that was a layup question. Why should we vote for you? Why should we vote for you? And he should have a million reasons why that don't involve asteroids. I'm sorry, like, the dude's platform is good. He had good ideas. But, like, we should vote for you because possible asteroid? I just, like, what is the disconnect? I don't get the disconnect between, like, them and the people. Like, I understand, like, when you focus so much of your life into, like, you know, learning and reading, you know, it doesn't free up a whole lot of time for, like, socialization to where, you know, you can really, like, connect with people. But, I mean, like, common sense says don't say asteroid. I don't know. Maybe I'm too hard on this guy, but, like, dude, like, you have to connect with people to get them to vote for you. Asteroid's not a selling point.
Stevie, do you know what killed the dinosaurs?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
See, what was the name of the Mountain Party guy that you interviewed? I mean, he was on point.
Yeah, Elliot Pritt. Yeah, he didn't even have to bring up asteroids, not even once.
What about Meteor? Is Meteor okay?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna have to sing Aerosmith.
But meteors are not a medical condition that can be cured by a proctologist.
Oh God.
And that's the thing. It's like I hate to, like, bash on these guys because, you know, I feel like their hearts are in the right place. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially compared to, like, a Cory Booker or whatever. But, like, I mean, you have to be able to at least relate to people on a certain level to get them to vote for you. I mean, dang, asteroids.
Well, Cory Booker's a hemorrhoid, so, you know, you go hemorrhoids asking about asteroids. There's just, you know, some of these guys, yeah, I mean, and not for nothing, Snore comes out with, you know, with whale blubber being the primary reason that he's running for office, then people might be turned off a little bit. And I know, you know, I mean, sometimes the Green Party out intelligences themselves. You know, they are smart people, but they have to also know how to connect.
No, not yet.
Not yet? I think, we won't connect yet.
Oh, no. I have a little problem with my house tiger.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like, I want to like these people so much. I mean, like, they have good ideas. They have good platforms. They're smart, you know, like they know what they're talking about, but, like, there's just that factor of, like, like I don't know. There's just a factor. Like they just don't. I don't know. It's like I even though I can recognize all the good points of them, it's like they just don't offer enough for me to say, yeah, I feel like this person can like they have a chance, or that I'd be better off voting for them. You know,
they have to connect. They have to connect to the public.
Yes,
that's the thing.
But they just have to connect to their constituents. They need to find ways to circumvent. Whatever hold the Republicans or the Democrats have to get their vote.
Right.
Like if they any unions, any like nurses, what's that nurses group in California? Just as many groups, get them in line. I think if they can get these types of these large groups that kind of vote together on a candidate, like just like the churches do for Republicans, that the unions and like nurses, whatever, have with the Democrats, is give them a reason to vote for you and your platform, and not the same Democrats, not the same Republicans who keep shooting down everything that they've wanted every time they got into office.
And to go back to what Snork says, it's not about I am a union rep. I've been a union rep. I've been a nurse. I've been a teacher. It's what is my plan to help out the nurses and the teachers and the people who live in my area, my state, my town, whatever I'm running for. So the thing that kills me is when someone said, I have been a teacher for 20 years. I don't care. I don't care. What is your plan? I don't care what you are or what you've been.
The plan is to make a commercial where you're driving a truck, carrying a gun, a rifle, and wearing jeans and what are those?
Okay, Kid Rock.
You know what I would love is for a Green candidate to make a satirical political ad, making fun of the Democrats and Republicans. I would love to see that. An independent candidate, you know?
Oh, it'd be so good.
And James, you know we like you and everything, but what the hell with the humping of the trees? I mean, dude, what the fuck? Come on. No wonder he walks funny. I mean, oh my God.
I need to show you guys this.
There are, I know Fly's shown me the videos of people tree banging.
All right.
They've actually used that against people here in West Virginia. Like people that are arguing against like coal and stuff. They'll pick people that are ecosexual or whatever you want to call it. People that go and are sexually attracted to nature, and they'll interview those people and say, we shouldn't have mercury in our water, and also we should be able to hump trees. Like, that's not really a good spokesperson. I don't know.
Okay, so I want to share this. This is Mike Figueredo. This is John Ossoff. This is commercial, and then Mike Figueredo makes fun of it.
Oh God!
I would love to have someone do this in their political campaign.
Oh my god.
I like that one.
Oh god. Oh, that makes me cry.
That was a good. I like that spoof. I mean, I think that's a way to get people's attention in this. Oops, sorry.
Why?
I think it's a way to get people's attention in this this type of world we're living in, society with the entertainment society.
Yeah, well, as punishment for screwing up my video, there you go. There you go, right there. Picture review forever. Well, why did you show you showed a picture of an Antifa candidate? I'm very upset. I can't believe it. People are saying that John Ossoff is, radical left. I'm like, dude, no.
He just reminds me of like Hillary Light. He doesn't have the extra baggage that Hillary has, but it's like the same neoliberalism policies.
He raised so much money that the DNC was like, whoa, dude, you need to slow down. I was like, holy shit. I've never seen that before.
I mean, wasn't that the guy that barely won against a molester?
No.
Like that's not really.
No, that was John Ossoff lost to, I can't remember her name. He spent so much money and he lost.
Oh no, that's the guy that lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting confused with the other vanilla milquetoast Democrats that won. They're interchangeable, man. They're just a bunch of pawns.
Yeah. And people were getting all like, oh, and by the way, the big winner on Long Island, Christine Pellegrino, she's got to run again. She just won in like a runoff election. She has to run this year, I think. So it's not like it was a huge upset. It was just a runoff, and she's got to run this year. So, and she may or may not win. Who knows?
I mean, I'm kind of concerned about a Democratic win, Like, I don't want people to get complacent in this shit. Like, I don't want people to say, well, there's a Democrat in office. I guess it's just time for me to go back to sleep. The one good thing about this, Trump and Republican takeover is that people are worried and they're starting to look into stuff. I mean, you got a lot of women's marches and stuff like that, but at the same time, a lot of those people will get on the right, road to actually learn about, there's no difference between Democrat and Republican. Whereas if we had a Hillary Clinton in office, people are going to go back to sleep.
And I don't think it really, for the most part, unless we're on the brink of disaster and everybody knows it, people are not gonna, this whole thing, woke. People don't want to think about this stuff. They want people to make decisions for them. Unfortunately.
And here's my view of the psychological makeup of who's president as far as the Democrats and Republicans. When you have a Republican in office, they play the power card. They're basically the war president. Right, they're the decision in chief. They're the guy who gets things done, whatever.
The decider.
You got the Democrats in office. They're the ones who are getting oppressed or repressed by the Republicans. They're playing the victim card.
Right.
They're saying, hey, the Republicans aren't playing fair, etc. Does it matter that they have the House, Senate, and the presidency? When they can't get stuff done, they blame anyone but themselves. And
well, don't you think that all this is honestly just, for the most part, theater, except for maybe the Supreme Court justices? Maybe, because what's going to happen? Trump is going to do whatever he's going to do, and most of this stuff is executive orders. So let's just, for argument's sake, say a Democrat does get in. So Trump.
But actually, he's been signing a lot of legislation into law, so it's not just executive orders. He's just, anyways. Yeah, go ahead.
But basically, what's going to happen, for the most part, is when Trump overturned all of the stuff that Obama did, whoever gets into office is going to overturn Trump's overturning of Obama's overturning of Bush, his overturning of Clinton. It's kind of like this hamster wheel to hell for the most part. And I don't know, I mean, look, I know things are going to fall through the cracks, but I don't know really if there's any progress ever, because when you have these two parties that are supposed opposites, and to be honest with you, to me they're one and the same, but they're kind of opposites, and one fights off of the other, and every 8 years the one side tries to undo everything the other side does. What really gets done?
And that's why we have the switch off when I say about the Republicans as playing the power card, that creates a lot of opposition because we don't want power hungry people in office, and then we get the president that plays the victim, even though they're touting the same type of legislation and funding wars and all this other stuff, but they play the victim, saying, "Oh, you know what? We just we want to pass this, but the other side isn't playing."
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And so everyone sleeps is go, "Oh, we just blame the Republicans." Our president's doing everything that they say they want to do, but if they're just being obstruction by the other party, we want
to allow you to breathe, but the Republicans won't allow us to allow you to breathe. They're obstructing it. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's not our fault. It's not our fault, and everyone's asleep, saying, "Yeah, of course, we just have a bogus system."
And in the meantime, Obama probably droned as many people, if not more, than GW.
Deported more people.
And yeah, I don't think that any wars ended when Obama or when Clinton.
We had more wars.
Yeah, they just escalated it, but they're not warlike. It's the same.
It's like a necessity rather than I'm a war chief, or a war president, whatever.
Do you think that 2001 was actually planned? Because I don't think going into you know what I'm thinking, that they planned to have GW in there for 9/11, because Gore in as president would not have worked in that scenario, because Gore's not a war hawk, because he's a Democrat. And to be honest with you, I thought that Bush gave a very weak speech after 9/11, but that's just me.
It's hard to take any of him seriously, especially when Dick Cheney, back in I think it was the early 90s, that he totally laid out what was going to happen in the Middle East. Like, before any of this stuff happened, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, if we do this, if we do intervention, if we overthrow this government," he totally said exactly what was going to happen. And then what happens, when he has the power, like he goes full in for this stuff, because he knew it was going to, create an unstoppable war, a war that was going to keep continuing on for years and decades. That was his plan. Like, he knew, once he got the payoff, like, before then he was like, well, I guess he didn't have like the stocks or whatever, but like after he did, like, he totally went in for the war. He totally went in for it. And he knew he knew that stuff. I mean, that's what kills me is like, he totally called exactly what was going to happen. And even though he knew it, just because, he had some stocks here and there, it's like, okay, now it's okay. It's okay. We can go forward with killing all of these innocent people because, he made an extra buck off of it.
Yeah, and the memo saying that there's possible terrorist attack. Like, can you imagine the vice president of Bill Clinton with that memo where it's going to him and like he doesn't follow it? There's almost no excuse. I mean, there's almost no excuse with Bush just kind of avoiding that memo. But I don't see Gore as being like the war president, someone where everyone will follow into like.
Yeah, I just in the back of my head it just kind of hit me like, holy crap! If you were going to plan this, you would have to have Bush in there. You'd have to.
Yeah, Bush and Cheney definitely. Cheney is definitely one who kind of took over, and everyone saw it.
Yeah.
And everyone always makes fun of it, saying, "Yeah, Cheney was the real president."
This is only speculation.
Yeah, this is speculation, but this is based off of psychology and strategy, not necessarily evidence.
Right. So if I was playing this strategy-wise, my thought was that the Clintons knew that with the taintment of Bill after his public problems, that Hillary needed to redeem herself and show that she could be statesman-like. And I believe that they helped W get in as a placeholder for somebody that would not want to be reelected or could not be reelected.
Okay.
And that to me, the 9/11 was meant to be as a failure for him. So that her being the senator could jump in as being I'm going to be the savior for the 2004 election.
I mean, it makes sense if you think about not just 9/11, but the financial crisis in 2008 while G.W. Bush was leaving office.
But it let all this stuff happen that she couldn't get blamed for it, because she could come back in and fix it.
Do you think that was a manipulation to get Obama in 2008, the housing crisis, or that timing was just phenomenal?
No, I think she did plan on being president in 2008.
Okay.
I think that Oprah threw the wrench in and stole the election for Obama from Hillary.
I think Hillary
Obama was quick.
Hillary didn't run in 2004, did she? No,
she didn't.
Okay.
She didn't. He was trying to build up clout, because I think they saw at that point that she didn't have a chance of winning without additional. And Kerry wasn't capable of winning.
And at that point, GW was actually kind of popular to go in with the Iraq War.
Yeah,
it was later when we were like, oh, that was a bad idea.
So they pushed a candidate that they knew would be a placeholder for the election, so that a viable candidate wouldn't be running against her in 2008. And now that's all speculation. I have no facts for that.
I mean, basically, how things played out, we can speculate and see like what their strategic plan could be before their run. But yeah,
because Bill had as much, supposedly, Bill had as much CIA connections as W.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Hillary's going to run again? God help me.
I do.
She's running again, 2020. She's going to have a different VP pick, that's for sure, if she gets the nomination, and she will get the nomination. That's the thing.
Those people here asking if they can get her to come endorse, and she will come if we pay
Yeah. She's going to run. She's going to win the nomination again because nothing's changed in the Democratic Party. That's why no one wants Bernie Sanders to run as a Democrat again.
Not really. I would like him to start out and leave, and then that would be an impetus for just a drove of people go. I really think if he actually pulls the cord and leaves, that he would have another party waiting for him. A large number of the people that are in place are actually Bernie supporters that are angry at the Democratic Party that have come in, and basically the party's remnants, what's left now, are the Bernie supporters, not the Hillary supporters. The Hillary supporters have almost been routed out at the local level in Iowa, at least in this area.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see, because, I mean, mainstream media narrative, Hillary's narrative, it's been Bernie's fault. Bernie voters' fault.
He doesn't.
And in the next few weeks, you can attend the local Nebraska meetings and start becoming politically involved. 7 or 8 people show up at a meeting, you've got a big crowd.
Yeah, so, I'll pretty much be filming it. This.
Let them know. Just be open and honest. I tell them in the meeting that my feelings. That I say that we're going to have a horrible problem trying to win, because I still am with the Democratic Party. We're going to have a horrible time trying to win until we've addressed how wrong the 2016 election was.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do, it's to the satisfaction of the overwhelming majority of people in this state who are not affiliated with the party might vote with us. But right now, if we had an organized third party in the state, they would win.
To be honest with you, I don't think Bernie needs a party. He could run as an independent.
I think he needs a party to kick off because he can't get coverage like whoever the Democratic Party is going to be.
What party would it be, though?
Once it's established that he is the leader in the race, he doesn't need anybody.
Right. Well, what party would he go to? He wouldn't go to the Greens. I know that much.
He'd be independent.
Yeah, I think he would be an independent or a new party.
Right. He would just be an independent.
And then there's the new parties. There are so many of them. They need to consolidate if they want to be serious.
Right.
There's the People's Party, Movement for the People's Party.
He won't go to Nick Brana. I just don't think he will do it. He would have done it already.
There's the Green Party.
Right.
Our Revolution, are they really a party, or are they
No, they're nonpartisan, I think. There's a couple of
Indivisible. Indivisible, I feel, is anti-Bernie. That they are it's unacceptable to do anything but whoever the Democratic content. It is not viable to be divided. And they will not listen to anything about a viable non-Hillary candidate.
Right.
And here in Nebraska, something to show is, let's see.
Stevie, we should start the asteroid party.
Yeah.
Fuck it, Giant Asteroid 2020. That's what I'm hoping for.
Is OBS functional?
Cthulhu 2020. It's Hillary, right?
I'm not getting an image on YouTube.
That's because he screen shared.
No, I didn't screen share yet.
No, I'm not getting an image on. I'm showing just a Bon Kim.
Yep.
It hasn't changed for a long time.
I know.
Okay.
I still haven't seen Dave eat any pizza and blue cheese yet, so I'm very disappointed.
Well, you won't, because
false advertisement.
You were too late.
You enjoy blue cheese? Eat it now.
Oh, come on, man. You're going to, ruin my day. It's freaking 5 in the morning.
No, there's going to be a blue cheese shortage
God's
coming.
sake.
Damn it.
Don't lose a chance. There's only one place in the world that makes good blue cheese. I think I got the right cheese.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can do it.
Can they make blue cheese in Wisconsin?
I don't know about Wisconsin. They make cheese curds though.
Oh yeah.
I'll see what you made me do.
Alright, let me share.
Alright.
Yeah, after this I should probably get some sleep since I got work to do in like a few hours. But let's see. Share.
No, I'm wrong. Blue cheese is not the one.
Okay, so in Nebraska in 2016, in the caucus, Bernie Sanders won pretty handily against Hillary Clinton. And with the, of course, oddly enough, in the primary, Hillary Clinton got more than Bernie Sanders, which is weird discrepancy where you've got a big disproportion. And then you've got Donald Trump winning pretty handily in the Republican primary. And then in the presidential run against Hillary and Donald Trump won pretty big. So there's not going to be much change. Of course, also Nebraska is a pretty small electoral count. So I don't think there's going to be much push here as in regards for the Democrats coming to Nebraska and trying to win the state over.
I'm telling you, I hope they do run Hillary. I do in a way, because I'm telling you, if they ran her again, even these like Nomiki Konst and let's reform the Democratic Party, those people are going to lose their shit if they run her again.
Wait,
seriously, I mean, how can you stand by that? I mean, there's just no way. Three times that you're going to watch this woman fail. Yeah, there's just no way they could survive that. I just don't think they could.
My Nomiki impression? That's about all I got. That one video of her just losing her shit, that was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I totally dug that, too. I don't know. I never had a very favorable... it's not like I hate the woman, but, I never took her as something like what she has to say is relevant.
Right. She's
just so Democratic Party. But that video where she called him out, that was needed. They need to hear that shit. I mean, whether or not they listen, probably not. I mean, they get paid too well to actually listen to logic or these things. So
I just thought it was fake outrage.
Fake out? Yeah. I could see that.
No. I mean, she was right.
Like a Cory Booker, how dare you? How dare you?
How dare you? You took money from the American people. Yeah, whatever, dude.
Hold on, let me look at my script. I forgot my place.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm sorry. You totally get me with that. You see these politicians, they come out and they're like, they'll try to give this impassioned speech, but then they have to keep looking down.
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, but when you get me on a tangent, when I get riled up, you're not going to catch me looking down at something. I know that shit. I know what you did wrong, and I'm going to call you out on it. I don't have to look at a script to remind me of my talking points and when I should have my scrunched up angry face. It's so ridiculous.
Due to the needs of the American people, hold on, I will no longer take PAC money. Come on, dude. Seriously? I guess that was.
But
that was bad.
How is she going to?
Yeah.
How's Hillary Clinton going to change her thing? Is it because it can't be the same? I'm with her, or Madame President, or glass ceiling. Break the glass ceiling. We gotta
Don't
you know.
don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Russia.
I'm back, bitch. It's like, she's like a bad staph infection. She'll never go away, ever. My God. All right. Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna take off on that note. I'm depressed.
Yeah, it's hard not to be.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
That just means we're doing our jobs if you're depressed.
I think it's time for me to go to bed too.
All right.
Banging's going to start pretty quick.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Peace.
All right.
Peace, Stevie. Unless you want to talk about, asteroids.
I don't know. It is apparently a problem.
Oh my God.
I mean, we got people that are like, dying from opiates and poor nutrition, but like, let's go ahead. Let's plan for that asteroid, buddy. Let's do it.
As I said, if that happens, hey, whatever your bucket list, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. When I was younger, I know this is going to sound really stupid because I live in West Virginia, but when I was younger, I used to be terrified of tsunamis. Okay, like just the idea of like a giant wave. Like I watched Deep Impact at a young age. Okay, and it fucked me up a little bit. That's the kind of shit I was worried about when I was younger. But I didn't know. I didn't know all the other shit that was already fucking up my life that was already going on. So it's like now that I'm a little bit older, it's like I can kind of see. Okay, tsunamis are a real issue, but maybe not one that I have to deal with today. So I'm just gonna put that one on the back burner and go ahead and worry about homelessness or something else.
What got me? Volcanoes, because those Virginia volcanoes will fuck me up. It's like,
volcano.
You got a crazy ass abusive dad that shoots at fucking snakes in a ditch in the front yard, but I'm worried about a fucking volcano. Jesus Christ.
I remember there was some kind of earthquake a few years back that hit like this general area. I remember seeing these like memes that popped up on Facebook that had like lawn chairs overturned that said "Never forget," like the earthquake of like 2009 or whatever it was. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what we're planning for. Let's go ahead and plan for that.
Oh God, have mercy. I think we need to save up some money and get some fucking kratom and see what the goddamn big deal is about. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of drugs out there I haven't tried, and I'll just add that to my list. I don't know. I mean, like, not that I would necessarily want to go out there and like do a whole bunch of stuff, but just curiosity gets the best of me. I'm like, what is that like? I don't know. I don't. Maybe that's not a safe position to have in life, but I don't know.
Well, shit. When
curiosity killed the cat kind of thing.
When the asteroid hits, you fucking, what you want. Shit,
Yeah, fuck it. Asteroids are coming, man.
And why?
Bring it on.
Why the hell would you want to do meth or cocaine? All you're gonna do is be awake the whole fucking time. I'd rather, like have my fun and then fall asleep and then not worry about it.
See, I don't know. I'm one of those people like I can't relax unless I'm like completely aware. So it's like I don't know, like I can't shut my brain off. Like I panic too much. That's why I can't like smoke and go out in public because I get too paranoid. Like I have to have complete function of my brain. But at the same time, it's like it kind of alters that stuff. Like I don't know. I have a feeling if I ever did stuff like that, it would turn out pretty bad. It would probably turn out bad because like. I don't know. Your brain can either go in a really good place or it can go in a really bad place, and
it's very rare.
It would probably go in a bad place for me.
Very rare that drugs put me in a good place. and most of the time, I'm asleep. So it's like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, back in the day, back before I had kids and all that, like, I would try stuff, but I just I could never be put out like that. Like, all my friends, they were totally into, like, partying and, like, doing all this stuff and, like, getting fucked up, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't like being out of control like that, but and nothing ever really, affected me like that until opiates. Like, that was the one that really got me messed up. But the other stuff is like, I could always leave it,
Right.
I guess depends on your personality type. I mean, I think everybody's got their own thing. Like, everybody's got their own, like, addiction or relief, something like that.
Right.
A lot of people around here, it's church. Church. Oh my God, is like the.
My addiction is.
I love my people, but I just don't get it. I don't get the disconnect.
My addiction is hard work. Sorry.
No, I mean, it kind of is though. I mean, I've gotten. Seriously, a lot of people will use that to get out of, like, feeling stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they'll throw themselves into their work. I did that when my grandma passed away. I was like, well, I guess it's time for me to bust my ass because I cannot deal with this shit.
Right. Well, I did that for a very long time with the union stuff. I'm starting to wind down. It's like, I'm just starting to get tired. I'm like, it's nobody listens to you anyway, so hell with it. So, but anyway, anything that you are curious about as far as Angelica Earl goes? I mean, I'm going to ask her about the contract for American Renewal, of course, and different stuff, and the kratom question and the nursing question, and she does a lot of activism work for certain groups, like for gay and lesbian groups, and I believe she was in Black Lives Matter. So it's kind of like, how do you get everybody together and and work together kind of thing, question. But do you have anything that you want to know?
Yeah, like what's her main platform? Like, is it healthcare? Is it police reform? Like, what is it?
I would say that her main thing is healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah, her main thing is healthcare. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I probably just want to know, like, what her economic plan is behind that, because, I mean, so many people hear that, and they're like, oh, you want free stuff. And it's just like, well, okay, explain to people, how do you plan to explain to people why this is a good economic move,
Right.
I mean, like, I'm totally behind it, but, a lot of people, they hear that, and it's just, instant, like, well, you want free stuff.
Well, she works in the medical field, so she will, I'm sure, she will explain it.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I mean, so many people are in the medical field that would automatically, like, be a win in her favor.
Right, and she's also she is for legalizing marijuana. I know that. And she another one is police reform. That's probably her number 2. Which goes along with Black Lives Matter. So, but.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to start doing in these interviews, because, I don't know, if you want to hit on all these different things, like, you can spend, like, hours just delving into all that stuff, but, I mean, really, when they get in the office, I mean, I want, like, 2 or 3 things tops that they really want to focus on, because, like,
right.
I mean, you're not going to get it all. So, I mean, like, it's good to have a backup plan, like, in case something picks up momentum or something. But I really want a core focus on, like, 2, maybe 3 topics at most.
Well,
because you have to go in there, like with like this, like, you know, bullheaded mentality, like, you know, you can't be sidetracked with these compromises and political bullshit.
Right.
Like, you know, you have a thing, you got to fight for it.
Right. But she's going against, you know, McCaskill, so she is a dark horse, and there is someone who is actually running as an independent that people are saying that has a chance, but they're not giving her a chance at all. So my thing, how do you get people energized? What is your plan to get people energized? Because Missouri is mostly a red state anyway. So to run as a Democrat against the incumbent Democrat, what's your main focus on what is the main focus on what she's doing that you can improve on? What is the main improvement that you can give the people of Missouri? Because my brother has already told me he's voting for McCaskill.
Oh my God!
I'm like, Mike, can you at least look at the interview first? And if you know,
yeah.
I'm like, damn. But he's like, well, it looks like she doesn't have money. So if she doesn't have money, I don't know how effective she's going to be. He actually said that. I was like, Mike, really? He's like, I know.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like people, they're like, well, I have no chance of winning with this person, so I'm going to vote for the person that even if they win, I'm going to lose.
Right.
It's like that makes no sense to me. No sense to me whatsoever. It's like, I mean, I want to win, so I'm just going to vote for a loser because I want to win so bad. I mean, that's what so many people hear, you know, with Trump. They're like, well, you know, he's not that great, but, you know, he says he's going to give me a job, so I'll vote for him, you know.
Right.
I mean, but it's like you're still going to lose. You know you're going to lose. You know that this guy, you know, deep down, like, these people know. I know that these people know, and deep down, that, like, these people don't give a damn about them. But it's like we're still going to vote for somebody that we're going to lose less with. I don't know. All right. That's worked in the past. Let's try it again.
I don't really care who gets it, but if you get Lissa, you interview her on a damn spot. I mean, I don't think she's going to do anything right now because she's getting swamped because of what she did. It was just bad timing, but you know, I would love to interview her, but I think that it's awesome what she did, and she did.
Oh, yeah.
She did basically what Zephyr Teachout did. So anybody who does that, like, Lissa, I'm here, Lissa. You're awesome.
Dude, I was watching that with her, and I was like, it was like watching, like, sports, you know how you see people, like, when they're watching, like, the Super Bowl or whatever. I was like, oh, shit, Lissa, get him. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, she's calling these people out, man, like, calling them out. And I didn't know because, like, I've looked into the money, and I've seen that one that she talked about, like, Steptoe and Johnson, I think. Yeah. But, I'm like, oh, why are they donating to all these different politicians? And then she said they're an oil and gas company. I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense. So, like, she connected a lot of dots. I mean, this woman, what she did was awesome, but she has a blog or a news website. It's called, I think it's called Holler Back.
I thought it was Holler from the Hollers.
Holler from the Hollers. Yeah. That's right. Holler from the Hollers. And I mean, I've learned so much from this woman. I would love to have her on just to pick her brain. Like, she's like the Snork of West Virginia. Like, she knows this shit. I want to know where she gets her. How does she stay so up to date? Like, how does she, how is she compiling all this knowledge? Because, I mean, she knows this stuff like the back of her hand.
That's my question.
This woman is brilliant.
That's my question. It's not, how to compete with other people or any of that bull crap, or how to have a better statement video. I don't care about that. What I care about is, how do we get the best research? How do we teach the public how to research? What do we need to do? What am I doing? What am I not doing that I need to do? Where do we find this information? It's the same questions that I would ask Jennifer Briney. Jennifer Briney is a superstar. She's awesome. Do you know Jennifer Briney?
I think I've heard of her, but I haven't looked into her too much.
The problem with Jennifer Briney is that she has a podcast called Congressional Dish. The problem is that she basically goes through all of these bills that go through Congress. Problem is, it's extremely time consuming, and it's very time consuming to just listen to her. I mean, she spends probably 5 times as much time reading the bills as she does doing the podcast. But it's still...
Oh, yeah, these bills are ridiculous.
2 freaking hours.
I've looked into them. We have this thing, our legislature goes live. I don't know if this is a thing like nationally, but I know when when our legislature is in session, they broadcast live. So
New York State Assembly does it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I always try to watch it because, I mean, this stuff is priceless, man. I guarantee you, I don't care what state you're from, if you watch your politicians, it's a damn trip. You get these people, they get up there and they say, I literally heard one dude say, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for y'all. This whole session is going to be about privatization, privatization, privatization.
Right.
And I'm like, really? You're saying this out loud to people. You understand that, right? Like, I know what you're talking about when you say privatization. That means fuck you to everybody else except for the people that got the money. And then all this co-tenancy and stuff that's coming up. I mean, oh my God, if people would just watch it, they would be blown away. And there's only like 6 people watching. There's only 6 people. Every day I get on there and I watch it live.
Right.
There's only 6 there's like 6 total people watching. I'm like, really? I feel like I'm like screaming into the wind because, like, they say some stupid retarded shit on there, and I'm just like, oh my God, are you stupid? Like, you can't say that. You can't say this stuff to people. Like, we think that your property should be taken away from you. And here's the reasons why. It's like, no, dude, let's go back to the beginning. You can't justify that. I mean, I don't care what you have to say after that. You can't take people's property away from them.
Well,
I mean,
the best one,
I don't know.
The best one with the New York State Assembly was there was a lady that introduced this bill to clean up the Hudson River, and one of the Republicans guys was like, "I'm sorry, I respect your dedication and your work, but I feel that this is overregulation. That the water is not, you could overregulate cleaning the water." I'm like, okay, but Stevie, I have to do this for Fly. Amy's a lawyer, but she can't say her profession because she might get in trouble if you know what she does. There, I did it, Fly. You happy? Jesus. Christ's sake. I don't know where the hell Amy is. So, there is no copyright infringement because apparently she...
Oh, no, I feel so bad about the Amy thing. Like, I know she got on there and, she got a little chatty. I mean, we all have our moments. But, I enjoyed her input. I enjoyed her. I wish she'd come back every once in a while.
Yeah?
She was interesting.
I have something to say! It was like, Jesus Christ, dude. All right. Shit.
The Constitution, man.
I apologize, Stevie King. Her phone was hit by an asteroid. So, I guess this live stream is over.